the dice pool. Everybody loves the dice pool. I would say that this is yet another way in which the players have more control over kind of the world around them, but the game master also has a dice pool, so I also get to, when I'm game mastering, I get to use the dice pool as well, and we'll talk about how that works. Let me just bring up kind of a throwaway character here that's just for testing. So here we have a dice pool. When you start a new character, when you roll up a new character, you get a 1 and a 20 in the active section of the dice pool, okay? And what this means is when it's active, then you're allowed to spend it during gameplay. So you get 2, well, up to 2, sometimes you have none because you've spent them all, rolls in your dice pool. And what these are is you can use these and spend them instead of rolling the dice. And it's just like you rolled this number. Okay, so if you have a 1 in your dice pool and you spend it instead of rolling, that's the key word, instead of rolling, not after you roll or anything like that, instead of rolling, then it's as if you rolled a 1. Now, the caveat is you cannot spend points on a dice pool roll. You can't spend luck, you can't spend covert strength or anything on a dice pool roll. Once you spend it, that's just what it is. Now, why would you want to start with a 20? Why would you want to put a 20 in your dice pool? Well, that's for damage, because remember, you get 1 dice 20 to spend on any damage that you do. You know, you add a d20 and you go ahead and spend that early off in the game, and then you've got yourself a lot of damage. So how do you accumulate rolls to put in your dice pool? Well, if you roll, here's how, and this can get confusing sometimes because it's easy to forget. If you roll and actually roll the dice, or in this case do a roll 20 dice roll, so we'll bring that up. If you roll a dice and it comes up as a 1 or a 20, then the next roll that you do, you can put in your dice pool. The next roll doesn't have to be a 1 or a 20, but generally you want to put either really high or really low numbers in your dice pool, because why would you want to put like a 10 in there? So usually it's when people roll 2 1s in a row or something, they'll put a 1 in their dice pool, and you put it in recent. Okay, now you cannot spend recent. You can only spend what's in active. And every time a new gaming session starts, so, Friday or Saturday crops up and we've just started in a new game, you move, let's say you've spent this 20, and last game you got a 1 in your dice pool, you just go ahead and move that dice roll over into your active dice pool. And then you can spend it on that day's game. You don't have to spend it. You can save them for as long as you want. But you can't have more than 2 rolls in active. And you can only spend the rolls that you have in active. And, you can only move from recent to active at the beginning of a game. Now, there are a couple of caveats or bendies to this rule. And that brings up another way of getting dice to add to your dice pool, and that is getting a funny. You say something that's funny, and everybody laughs, and the game master goes, I'm giving you a funny. That goes into your recent dice pool. If you happen to get a funny, only a funny, and your recents are full and you have an active slot, you can go ahead and put it in your active. But that's the only way a dice pool can go from a game directly into your active. So remember that they're there. A lot of times people will forget that they have rolls in their dice pool and they're coming up on a really bad situation. And oh my gosh, they need to roll well. And remember, you cannot spend points on them. No luck, no outer body luck, no covert strength. None of that can be spent on a dice pool roll. But it's a guaranteed success. So now let's talk about strategy. Remember that an automatic success versus an automatic success, the tie goes to the defender. So most of the time, you're gonna want to spend a 1 from a dice pool when you're defending against an attack. That's why this video is going under combat. Is most of the time when somebody spends out of their dice pool, it's because a bad guy is attacking them and they roll a 1, and it's some big mean thing like a dragon or something, or a troll, or a psychotic weasel, and they don't want to take all that damage, and they realize, oh, my odds of rolling a 1, I don't want to get infected. Maybe it's a zombie or a vampire or something. Well, a zombie. They don't want to get zombified. What do? Well, if you have a 1 in your dice pool, you spend it, because yeah, they rolled a 1, but I just spent a 1 on defense. So tie goes to the defender and you don't get hit. It is not a good idea to spend a 1 from your dice pool on attack. Because remember, the Game Master also has dice pool, and he gets 3 active a day instead of 2, and it's all sorts of full of 1s. So, I got 1s in recent, I got 1s in active. If you spend a 1 on attack, especially against like a boss, I'm almost guaranteed to spend a 1 on defense just to spite you. Just saying.